Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome back to the Doze Podcast, where I dive into all things to help you sleep your best. I'm your host, Soda Kachkowski, and today I have a very special episode for you. In celebration of National Love Your Skin Day and National Clean Beauty Day, I'm diving into the essential connection between beauty sleep and the importance of using natural products in your skincare routine. And I'm also thrilled to be joined by Trisha Hanudel Lopez, founder of San Pedro Soapworks, to discuss the importance of what we put on our skin, especially in relation to our sleep routines. So I want to start with the basics. You often hear the term beauty sleep, but what does that really mean? Well, beauty sleep isn't just a myth. It's a scientifically backed necessity for maintaining healthy and vibrant skin. During sleep, your body undergoes crucial repair and regeneration processes. This includes increased blood flow to the skin, allowing for cellular repair and the production of collagen, which keeps it firm and youthful looking. That means that the skincare products you use before bed matter and can influence this repair process. High-quality natural ingredients can enhance the skin's ability to regenerate and rejuvenate. Conversely, harsh chemicals and synthetic additives can block these processes, leading to irritation and long-term damage. So what does it all mean and what should we look for? Let's find out. It is so great to see you, Trisha. We met initially at a marketplace, a global marketplace with Bank of America, and this fantastic woman, I had the pleasure of having a booth next to her at the last event that we did in Austin, Texas, and listening to her talk about her business and her products. I knew I had to bring you on to the show to really, share the information with our listeners. There's one thing that I heard you repeatedly say throughout the 3 days that we were there, and you were always talking about the good stuff, right? The natural ingredients that you use. So to get the conversation started, can you just share a little bit about how you created your business, the passion behind it? And, I know you've lived all over the United States. I'm on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast, and I know that had a little bit to do with it. But can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So this got started just for the simple fact I like to make things. I like to make things that you can probably easily buy in a store. I like that whole challenge. For me, it's all about the process. And I was looking for a new hobby, and it was between soap, bread, or cheese.
Those are all great things.
Yeah. So here we are talking about soap. I started learning about the ingredients. I started following these recipes that I would find in books. And I really liked the process. The products that I was making then, and I was just in R&D, just in the experimentation phase, were absolutely horrible. But you talk about learning from your mistakes. Now I know what not to do, right? So I was just, kind of having fun, in the kitchen, just making things and things that smelled nice with the essential oils. And then my mom called me one day and she said, "Hey, I know you're making stuff, and I was wondering if you could try to make me a hand cream," because she has really thin, fragile skin. She's older, of course. And she was on a lot of prescription creams that were giving her all kinds of side effects that she didn't like. And she just wanted to try something natural. She's never really been a natural girl. She's just kind of bought whatever they sell at the store and called it a day. Never really thought too much about it. So I was like, yeah, of course. So I was already working on a cream. And I kind of tweaked it here, the formulation at that point, tweaked the formulation here and there. And I sent it to her, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is magic cream. I will buy this for $100 a jar." That was the first time I really thought about I made a good product. And someone really likes it, even though it's my mom. Someone really likes it. And they said that they would buy it for an ungodly amount of money. But, so that just got me started. It's like, wait, I love the process. I love all the experimentation. I love all the different products that, you could make, and they do different things. So I was like, wait a minute, let me take this and run with it. I started in 2016. So yes, 8 years later, here we are. Yeah, the line just kind of developed from there. I had a bunch of natural breaks in the journey where I was either on maternity leave or The best break is I got fired from my job, and it took me 3 months to like find another job that would work for me. Cause in LA, we had to deal with like the commutes and everything. So during that time, I really kind of went all in developing like body wash. Let me do a shampoo, a hand soap, a night serum. So I did developed a whole product line, worked on a logo that I drew myself. So that ended up being a really lucky break that really kickstarted this whole thing and gave it the real like time that it needed at that point. Yeah. And then the other natural break was maternity leave. And you go on so many walks, so many stroller walks when they're babies. And we are lucky enough to live in this beautiful little gritty port town of Los Angeles called San Pedro, California. And it's gorgeous. There's so many florals and plants and not so much wildlife because it's still part of Los Angeles. But there's just so many beautiful flowers and trees and plants all around us. You have to like kind of knock them out of your way when you're going by on the sidewalk with the stroller. So I really got inspired by the natural beauty of San Pedro, as well as it's a port town, right? So it's a highly unionized place. It has very blue collar roots. Oh, and you can see the port of LA, one of the biggest ports in the world, right from outside of my house here. So I was seeing this juxtaposition every day of like this hardworking, machine that keeps commerce going in America against this background of gorgeous natural life and natural beauty. And so I was really kind of taken by that. And so I thought that would be a really nice inspiration for this line of soap, really give it like some bones, give it some structure. And so that's how we ended up with only the good stuff, no filler. It's just hardworking ingredients that look good, that smell good, they feel good on you, they make you feel good, but yet they get the job done.
Was there like a pivotal point where you started making, like, what was your first product that you ever made for yourself? Because that's the thing, like some of the products that I sell in my business, I tell people they're really simple to make, but it's not for everybody. Not everyone's kind of motivated in that way. Was there a particular, besides your mother asking for that lotion, that you said, I can make this myself, or I can make this better, or what I'm looking for isn't out there?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it's called the all-purpose cream. Because for me to sell a product, I have to personally like it and want to use it.
Same.
And not think that it's superfluous. I haven't developed a 2-in-1 product in my line yet, but I like the idea of 2-in-1, just one thing and make it do everything. So with the all-purpose cream, it's a thicker lotion. So it's not like a squeezable thing. It doesn't come out of a pump top. You have to like scoop it out with your hands. It's got some body to it. And I'm not a big lotion person to begin with. I'm not like getting all the stuff from Target or Bath and Body Works to try it out.
Those are that's the toxic stuff.
Yeah, right. And like I didn't want to anyway. It smells weird. And this has to be something that I want to use. So for me, it was that product. It was like, wow, it's thick. It's got some like heft to it. It's not watery, but it goes on so smooth. It spreads on the skin so well. It melts right on contact with the body heat, and it smells amazing. It's got some lighter oils in there that will moisturize from just underneath the top layer of your skin, and then some heavier oils. So it's got coconut oil, shea butter, and this skin-friendly form of beeswax called cerebellina. And that's the one that I read ingredient lists like it's my hobby. And I haven't really seen that too much in a whole bunch of other products. And that's a beautiful ingredient because it serves to like lock in all the moisture from the lighter oils that are sinking into your skin and form a protective barrier. And that's what my mom needed. That's what I needed because I inherited her skin, of course. And I found that combination, that moisturizing and locking in, so it really dries to a silky smooth finish, right? So those three, that tactile feel, like it's not greasy, it's very smooth, it's protective, like you get that little bit of elasticity bounce back into your hands, and you get the moisturization. So that was the one I was like, this is the product. for sure.
And everyone needs a good lotion. Like you said, I mean, people don't realize our skin's our largest organ, right?
Yeah.
And we need to be able to protect it because, I mean, we're out in the elements every single day, whether it's, in Buffalo, I say we go through the 4 seasons in one day. We can have like, winter in the morning, and by the afternoon, the sun is blasting. So it's like, we always have to make sure that we're protecting our skin. So a good lotion is something to have. And then to the point that you made about it being like all purpose, because what we're seeing now is that people want that simplicity, right? Like you don't see the like 6 to 8 step facial kits anymore. They're doing like an all-in-one where it's like you have everything in this like simple to follow formula because people just don't want to take the time to do it, right? So simpler is actually better. Plus, in terms of what you're saying, in terms of the ingredients, it seems like they're adding more and more, for lack of a better word, junk, right? In terms of the ingredients that are in there. And a lot of times people aren't reading the labels. They don't realize, what's in the products that go on our skin. And a lot of times what it does is it actually changes the way that our body reacts, right?
Yes.
There's these kind of hormone disruptors. So that's a big one too. People use something like, for instance, a lot of these lawsuits that are pending where it's like you're using something for 20, 30 years. And then down the line, they learn that it actually has cancer causing properties, right? I know in California, there's a lot more bans on things and products like furniture and so forth than there are in other areas because they find that it does, in fact, affect your health.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the long term. And that, has like real ramifications. Like there's, cancer causing chemicals out there as well. And that are in a lot of these products. But also in the short term, you can really tell the difference. Like in the surfactant world. So the surfactants are the things that like bubble up and they get you clean, right? Without surfactants, you can't get clean. And in the liquid soaps, there's the top surfactant that a lot of big companies use is sodium lauryl sulfate. It dries out your skin. It irritates your skin. For shampoo, it actually like irritates your scalp, dries it out, makes it like flake up even more. So it actually makes your skin worse. The only analogy that comes to mind is when my kids go to the dentist, and they don't do this anymore. I think they did it back in my day, but it reminded me, like when kids go to the dentist and they give you a lollipop afterwards.
Yes. My daughter's dentist actually switched to balloons, and because I was like, that's counterintuitive to why we're here.
Right? It's like, wait, that's how they get you, right? So the idea would be, if I was a big company just out for making money, yeah, I'll use a surfactant. I'll put a surfactant in my product that's going to be cheap for me, jack up the price, of course, but use a cheap ingredient that's going to do more harm than good, cause itchy, dry skin, and then sell a moisturizer so that you need 2 products now. You need the moisturizer. Now I'm a brand that you can trust, quote unquote. But really, it's like my product made you look for another solution that I was also able to provide. So from a business sense, yeah, okay, cool, I get it. But that's not cool.
I mean, that's how our healthcare system is built, right? Because the money isn't in the solution or in the cure, right? It's in the diagnosis and the treatment and the ongoing visits. And the same thing, like you said, with the products, they want to get you hooked on something so that you constantly need it.
Yes.
So then your skin becomes reliant on it, where you constantly need something, so you feel like you can't live without it. Or like you said, that all purpose. I love the idea of that because I have one for like I have like a PM and a daytime. And I'm like, what are really the difference? I mean, I know at nighttime, moisture is really important for before you go to sleep. And I do want to ask you about your products in terms of like nighttime routines, because I know you have a lavender serum that I did purchase. And I'm a little bit sensitive to smells, but I have used it and it's been great on my skin. And, full disclosure, I actually used one of your soaps this morning.
Ah, yay!
It's and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like pink, orange, and white. My daughter's like, what is this? Is this for me? I'm like, that's not for you. That's mommy's soap. But the night serum, if you could share a little bit about that lavender serum with us.
Yeah. So that's a really simple product. Going back to only the good stuff. It's also no filler, right? So it's only ingredients that are going to do the job, right? So it's an oil-based serum. The only ingredients are coconut oil, sweet almond oil, and apricot kernel oil, a little bit of vitamin E to help the oils stabilize, and then the lavender essential oil. And I also have the night serum in rose. So the only difference there is just the essential oil. It's got rose essential oil or tea tree. And so the lavender one is really good. It's a really good oil for all skin types because lavender is anti-irritating. It's moisturizing. It has a calming effect, not only on your mind, but also on your skin, which is amazing. And it's got all these other benefits as well.
It helps with regulating body temperature. So that's a good one too.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. That's so cool. So yeah, so I call it a night serum because that's the time where you're not going to mess with your face. You're just going to be able to be still and let the ingredient do its job, which its job is to sink into the top layer of your skin, fill up the spaces between your skin cells, just like brick and mortar. So you wake up to a smoother appearance. And over time, it'll help minimize the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. It's not a miracle product. It won't erase them completely. You'll just look fresher. You'll look plumper. You can be confident that it's only the good stuff on your skin. You're putting it on night after night. It does also have a little bit of that aromatherapy benefit of lavender. It's very calming. I hear it's a big essential oil in the sleep world too. It helps promote calm and relaxation. And so it's just a really good, simple, straightforward product.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing about that. Yeah, to your point about the lavender, that's one of those things where it's made in such synthetic forms now that they put it in everything. So people are spraying their pillow with it. And it's like, okay, well, that's not actually, it's chemicals that you're spraying on your pillow before bed. And they've gotten away from the natural. So that's why it's always important to look at those ingredients and see what's in those products and make sure that you're using something that actually isn't causing toxicity, right?
Yeah. And that's a good point because you also don't want to fool yourself, right? Into thinking, oh, a lavender scented thing. And aromatherapy is not my strong suit at all. So I don't know if this is valid, but I would think that just because something smells like lavender, it may or may not give you the same benefits as like a lavender essential oil would, because the essential oil is just a pure kind of distillation of the oils of the lavender plant. But there is also fragrance oils. And in the soap world and candle making world, anything that people make that smells, you have that choice. You can use either essential oils or fragrance oils. And the fragrance oils, there's not a whole lot of disclosure about like how they're made or, what's in them. But, they have their place, of course. You can get a lot wider variety of scents. But there are lavender fragrance oils, just like there's cinnamon bun fragrance oils and all kinds of stuff out there. I would imagine if you really want to help promote and get all these other benefits for your skin, for relaxation, then you're definitely going to want to go the essential oil route, not just go crazy with the lavender scented stuff. Might be a good placebo effect, but I don't know about the long-term effects of that.
Absolutely. I have some lavender sachets or eye pillows that I sell from a local vendor. So it's locally grown. And then she sews the eye pillows here and it has a removable pouch, but I have it under this kind of like cake stand. And when people lift off the lid, they're always like, oh my goodness, what is that? And I'm like, that's lavender. And they're like, that's lavender. And I'm like, yeah, that's what fresh, real lavender, not fragrance scented products. This is the real deal. It's the same thing with, with essential oils. A lot of times too, the majority of them, because it's not very regulated in the United States, a lot of it is filler versus like actual essential oil. So that's why you also have to be careful about like where you get the essential oil, checking like where it's sourced from and the quality of the products. So I think that's where like understanding a little bit about aromatherapy. I mean, some of these like MLM, these marketing level programs like doTERRA and Young Living, but they do provide a lot of education, but the price of aromatherapy is also skyrocketed. But there are a lot of more cost-effective ways that you can actually use these products.
Yeah. And there's trade-offs, of course, like anything with the essential oils is going to be more expensive just because it's a more expensive ingredient. But yeah, you're right. No, customer education is definitely key for that one.
On that note, do you have kind of any thoughts on the fact that there's so many misconceptions about what natural skincare actually is?
It means nothing. It means It's nothing at all. It's a totally unregulated term. Now, that being said, there are certifications you can look for on products that will assure you that it is a natural product. It has met certain standards. And the two that I'm thinking of at the moment are called EcoCert and Cosmos. And COSMOS. Those are the big two. And so if you really, really want to go all in on a natural skincare, hair care journey, look for those two certifications. They'll be on the label because they cost a lot of money and people are very proud. Brands are very proud when they can get that. They're a little cost prohibitive for smaller brands like myself. That's why I really got to look into like the sourcing and go with ingredient suppliers that I trust, that I know what they're doing, and not just find anything off Amazon and throw it in the bottle, you know. But for people looking for natural products, that would be the only way, I think, to go, because everything else could be natural washing or green washing.
It's all turned into marketing. They put a green leaf on something and people are like, oh, it's all natural. It's organic. That's another thing. I mean, that's how it started with these aromatherapy companies. It's all marketing, all the terminology, therapeutic, organic grade. Like those are all marketing words.
Yeah, exactly. Cause they're not like regulated. There's nothing really behind that. You know, I mean, for me, like my products, I also market them as natural because they're all naturally derived, you know, except for the fragrance oils that I use in some of the bar soaps. And then of course that's natural is not on the label and fragrance oil is very clearly on the label. So I think it's about finding the brands that you trust. It's best if you can find like a smaller brand that you can like talk to the owner, such as this, and really get to understand about the ingredients and understand about what they use. And, you know, instead of grabbing something off the shelf at Target that says all natural, and then it's got this laundry list of ingredients that the bigger the list, the more likely there's filler in there. But the one thing I will say about natural ingredients is sometimes people go too far the other way as well and say like, if I can't pronounce it, it's not natural, which is absolutely not.
That's a misconception too.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's, you know, a number of soap makers who promote like, oh, it's chemical free. It's like, that's impossible, right? Everything's made out of chemicals and you can't make soap without a key, like hardcore chemical, sodium hydroxide or lye. It's been in soap since the invention of soap. So I don't know how they get past that. But at that point, you're kind of might be dealing with someone who might not know all the ins and outs of formulation, and therefore wouldn't exactly like trust the product, right? If they're promoting like natural ingredients, but can't say why they're natural, or if they're promoting chemical free, and then they're like, oh, well, it's got sodium hydroxide in it. It's like, well, actually that you literally buy that at chemical stores. Like, I don't know how else you would get it. But, yeah. And so there are the people who, you know, want to get so far away from chemicals that they end up damaging their hair. They end up damaging their skin. The big example I can think here is the people who go like the natural hair care route and do like Castile soap and the apple cider vinegar wash, which is absolutely terrible for your hair. It's
very drying, right?
It's super drying. And you get this weird combination of like dry and greasy at the same time. How do I know? That's where I started, right? That's when I was like saying, I'm going to make something. And it was the worst, I want to say like 6 months to a year of my gorgeous hair life. And I didn't understand why. And finally, once I got into, like I mentioned earlier, the difference between like recipes versus formulations. Formulations is where you actually get into the science of how the ingredients all work together, what they are, what they do, if they cancel each other out, if they add like too much of an effect, so you cancel out other beneficial effects of the product. Back when I was still in like recipe phase, I was working with the Castile soap, and I was like, why is my hair greasy and dry at the same time? And I was resigned to it. I was like, well, this is life now. I'll just go through with the bun and try to hide it as much as I can. But I realized later, once I learned like proper formulation, is because the pH of something like Castile soap is so high. It's like 9 or 10, and which is like, I think battery acid is on one side of the scale. But if you go too far on the other side of the scale, like the highest it can go is 12, and you get damaging effects there too. So that's how I was getting like the dry and greasy hair at the same time. And then it wasn't helping that I was also dumping like apple cider vinegar on my hair because I read an article online that said it was cool from like a mommy blog or something. And it was the worst. Hair was getting brittle because the pH, and we're talking about pH, the pH of apple cider vinegar is like 3 or something, which is better for your hair. Your hair and your skin are naturally acidic. So the pH of your skin is around like 5-ish. The pH of your hair is around like 4-ish. So 3 for apple cider vinegar is not too bad, right? But you just fried it with this like super alkaline solution, Castile soap, and now it's trying to create it can be a mess.
That's where finding that balance is important, not one extreme or the other, because people tend to work in extremes. They're either on one end or they get too into it and understand that not to be afraid of everything, right?
Right, exactly. And just because something is natural doesn't mean it's good either or beneficial, like arsenic is natural, but we don't want to mess with that either.
To speak on the point that you were talking about pH levels, because that was a conversation that you and I had, because that's one of the reasons that I love working with local vendors and even with my products, the scalability, because I like to make those smaller batches, right? Because a lot of times what we see, if you go to a Target or if you go, to any of these pharmacies, they're adding products so to extend the shelf life of a lot of these products. And that also changes the way that they work, right? Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, does it matter that, I can have this face lotion for 3 years, right? But isn't it better to get something that's all natural that has a shelf life of a year versus something that it changes over time, right? Not just that it works, it's less effective, but it actually can change and actually cause you to have more clogged pores or just, it can go in the opposite direction.
And products break down over time. I'll go to my mom's house now to visit, and like there's shampoo that was there when I was in high school. I was like, Mom, what are you doing?
Listen, that's everyone's house. My mom is the exact same way. We're like, how is this possible that you still have this?
This is so weird and gross. But yeah, their products break down over time. Like a shelf life is a real thing because the shelf life is also the safety of the product, right? So things like preservatives are good. They're not, it's because some people that are on the natural boat, they're like, oh, I'm looking for something without any preservatives. It's like, okay, well, you better buy in small batches and you better buy smaller packaged products as well, because you don't want to have something sitting around that's not preserved for more than really a couple of days. I mean, you can extend the life of oils with like vitamin E a little bit. It's an antioxidant, so it'll help it's good for your skin and it'll help, prevent oxidization of your skin cells. So it's good too, but it's also good to keep the oils fresher longer. It helps prevent oxidization. But you can only go so far with that. You can't have an unpreserved, all natural product sitting around for more than like a week before you start getting into like mold and yeast issues and all nasty things that are growing in there. And then that's when you see the dark side of naturals. It's like, well, that's natural too, but we are not going to bathe in mold and yeast.
Well, I want to kind of pivot for just a second, because in our conversations and in meeting you and spending time with you, we actually decided to collaborate on a product line. So we have a morning and an evening soap that are going to be coming out, and I'll be dropping the link for that in the show notes. But the evening blend, of course, for sleep, because I am everything sleep, consists of bergamot, which is, if you're someone who tends to have that racing mind, this is something that's going to calm you in that manner. It has cedar wood, which helps with the release of melatonin, and ylang ylang, which is my favorite over lavender because it works as a natural antidepressant. It's said to help promote happy dreams. So with those three things, it's a soap. If you're someone who likes to take showers at night before you go to bed, it's going to be something that you'll be able to use. And then with the morning blend, we went with a peppermint and the orange, right? Sweet orange.
Yeah.
Right. Can you tell us just a little bit about the process about putting those together? And I'm so excited to share the products with my customers.
Yeah. And they smell gorgeous. They smell absolutely gorgeous. So the nighttime blend, the bergamot, ylang ylang, and cedarwood smells so soft and beautiful. It smells like that feeling that you're putting your head on a soft pillow at night and everything's just fluffy and comforting around you and you just drift off to dreamland. It smells amazing. And that's all about like the scent blend. And I think with that one, I want to say I went with maybe a little less of the cedarwood because it's a really strong scent.
Very woodsy.
Yeah. And a little more of the ylang ylang because that's a really gorgeous, beautiful scent. But it was balanced nicely by the citrus of the citrus notes of the bergamot. The soap is a white and a black soap. So it's got like a white base with these beautiful black swirls that are just kind of floating in the soap. It's really gorgeous. It's a wonderful soap to use at night. And the thing about the soap that I make, my particular formulation of soap, is that it is gentle enough to use on your face too. So even if you're not a night showerer, I'm not a night showerer, but I use bar soap on my face every single night. My soap it's got like a pretty good percentage of, it's called super fat. And so that's the percentage of excess oils that are in it's like basically the oils that are left over after the saponification process, which is what makes the bar soap. And so those, you want a little bit of super fat because you want that moisturizing effect of the excess oils. So that's why the bar soap, or my bar soap, is so great to use on your face at night because it's also a very moisturizing bar. Even if don't shower at night, you still get that like gorgeous smell, the aromatherapy benefits. Yeah. And the moisturization benefits, followed up, of course, by the lavender night serum. And you're off to a wonderful, wonderful world of sleep and dreams, very restful. And you're also getting moisturized while you're in dreamland. The other bar soap, the morning one, also smells, so it's like a pop of citrusy peppermint. The blend works really, really well together. So that will definitely, anything citrus, anything peppermint will definitely wake you up in the morning. And it's got like swirls, again, with the base of white. It's got swirls of a kind of a darker orange and a kind of yellow gold scent. So really definitely something eye-opening, something bright, not only in scent, but also in design, that'll definitely wake you up in the morning after that restful night that you just had.
Well, I'm so excited to share those products. And then, those will be on my website and I'll drop those in the links. But if people are looking to follow you, because I know you have a great Instagram, you're always out at local markets.
Yes.
Can you just tell us your handles and the website where they can find your products?
Yeah. So it's all pretty simple. It's all www.sanpedrosoapworks.com. The Instagram is just at San Pedro Soapworks. Mainly update the Instagram. That's because it's easy. Less so on Facebook. But the handle on Facebook is the same there too. And exciting news, just to share with your listeners, I do pop up at markets quite often, but I'm looking to not do that so often because I do have a permanent space that I'll be opening up.
Really? Congratulations.
Yeah. So thank you. It's not a storefront, so I'm not quite there yet, but it is a permanent stall in this permanent makers market down here in San Pedro called Crafted. It's anytime you want to come visit San Pedro, definitely go to Crafted. It's got all the best makers there of Los Angeles. It's open Friday through Sunday. So we're doing it. We're doing the permanent space now. So I'm so excited.
That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you. Because that's the thing. It's like you want to have that scalability. You want people to know about your products too. But I mean, you also work full time,
yes,
right? So
yeah.
you're multitasker and you have, is it 2 or 3?
Only 2 kids. 2 is all I could do, just in general.
No, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to share what you know with the listeners. And I can't wait to share the products that we put together. And I'll make sure to drop all that information below so that people can contact you and find out about your other products.
Yeah, for sure. This has been a blast. Thank you so much.
I hope you found this information helpful and that you start to take a closer look at the products you use to keep yourself looking and feeling good. Just remember, a good night's sleep paired with quality skincare is the secret to radiant, healthy skin. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found this valuable, I'd be so grateful if you shared it with others in your circle. Also remember to subscribe to the channel, the Doze Podcast with a Z. I'm back every Wednesday with a new episode, ready to empower you to take steps towards your best sleep. Until then, remember your pure potential if you change how well you sleep.